Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maximo and I'm here checking out Modnation Race's Road Trip. You might have noticed that I've been doing videos on older games lately, and that's going to continue for the rest of this week because, well, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing coming out, I don't have review codes for anything, and, well, I do have something else on the way that'll be interesting to take a look at, but until then, we're just stuck looking at older games, so I decided that it would probably be a good time to go back through the old library and having a look at games that I haven't done videos on yet, mainly because of, you know, they came out too early or I just didn't like them at the time for whatever reason, whatever. So this is a fairly good start. Modnation Race's Road Trip came out the same day the Vita did. So let's have a look around it first. First thing you might have noticed is that the technical performance isn't great, the frame rate's a bit jumpy, and it takes a while to load anything. That's pretty much the entire thing. So, might as well go have a look at everything else first. This Modnation Race is a game based around making stuff, which is making characters to drive with, making cars to drive with them in, and making tracks. So we'll just go have a quick look at the editors. I haven't actually played around with these very much because my creative spark is more of a creative fart, but we'll just let that be. So you can come in here and you can randomize your car, then you can come in, you can change the body, the color of the body, the size of the body. You can change the paint job, the parts, the accessories, you can put them all over the place. And while I'm not going to have a deep look at this editor, I will show you some of the cars that I've downloaded, because there are other people. You can upload your creations online and let other people use them. So as you can see here, I've only gotten a few cars here, but there's a bunch of really creative stuff. So it's kind of neat. I will show off the browsing situation that earlier. It's the same deal with the mods, which are basically the player characters. If I go to select mod, you can see I've already got Goku. So yes, I was riding around as Goku on the back of Thomas the Tank Engine. That's something I never thought I'd get to say in a Vita game video, but we'll let that be. And you can see that there's a bunch of creative stuff going on here as well. Pretty impressive stuff, actually. It's amazing how much versatility this editor has. So I can meet Link on top of Thomas the Tank Engine. There's probably a Zelda-related car in there somewhere. So if we move on to the next one, we can check out our favorites. So we can see our... I don't know why they call this the favorites menu. It really doesn't make any sense. So you can do mod postcards, which is kind of hilarious because it lets you load a photo and take a photo. So if I were to pick load a photo, I could literally load in, let's say, some of my Dead or Alive Extreme 3 screenshots. Yes, I've actually done this. And as you can see in that one photo down the bottom left there, it exports them to your photos afterwards. So yes, I do have Goku planting his face right into Neo Tenku's cleavage there. I know, it's about as stupid as it sounds. But we'll just let that be. You can also take a photo. I don't know why you'd want to do that, because the camera on the Vita is notably pretty bad. Stats, obviously, I've put about 2 hours into the game so far. You can come here to change the controller layout. There's a lot of controls you have to remember, strangely enough. It's a little bit strange, but it all relatively works. As you can see, they actually mean you have to press X to drift and use the circle button to shield, but for some reason they felt the need to stick them down the bottom right there to confuse you. But yeah, I'm not going to claim to know why they've done that. Works alright though, more or less. You can come into your settings, change your audio settings, the driver assist, I don't even know why you want that. And a surprising amount of audio options. A really surprising amount. And of course, you've got the credits. Same thing with the track studio. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but should I load up a track? Yeah, I should probably load up a track. So, as you can see, I've downloaded a bunch of tracks here just for the purpose of demonstration. Unfortunately, you can't remix some of them. You can only remix the included tracks and tracks that they actively let you remix. But if we go to Collision Coast, we'll be able to see just how long this game takes to load. Yeah, the loading times on this aren't great. They're usually over 30 seconds, and it's just, I end up putting my Vita down from time to time on some of the bigger tracks because it just takes ages for anything to load. It's really frustrating, honestly. And it doesn't even change, like, the loading screen tips, so you're just stuck looking at the same thing for the next few seconds. It's annoying. Just randomly pressing buttons doesn't help either. What was the old trick in Pokemon Blue? You had to hold down an A or something like that in order to catch the Pokemon easier. But yeah, as you can see, you can edit things like the environment, the track settings. Hey look, there's other AI. You can mod the terrain via finger sculpting, so just get that, put it back in there. And as you can see, I've just made that lighthouse go nearly underwater. And you can do a lot of this because there's all of these like boulders are props, the trees are props, that stuff is props. It's all props basically. So there's a ton of creativity you can do with this track editor. And as you can see, the frame rate isn't very good. It isn't the kit doing this, guys. I swear on my life, it's the flippin' game. The game is not very well ported. Actually, it kind of is well ported because most of the stuff that I downloaded is actually from the PS3 servers. It's kind of great because since this is a port of the 2010 Modnation Races game, and this game came out beginning of 2012, it's actually a relatively on par port with the other game, but it has some new stuff in it to the point where you can't play Vita creations on PS3, which is actually a little disappointing. Speaking of creations, this is where you come to get them. So if I go to download creations here, we can hop online and have a look at a few things. So you can tap surprise me to get surprised with whatever particular thing you want. As you can see, you have to choose between the PS3 or the Vita stuff. You can't get them both at once, which is a little bit disappointing. And you can do keywords, most rated, most downloaded, etc., highest rated. So we'll go to highest rated. Unfortunately, highest rated isn't very good because people it tends to do that thing where there'll be barely any ratings, but since they're closest to 5 out of the whole pack of tracks, it just counts them as being the highest voted anyway. And you do have a surprise me button, but when I tapped the surprise me button the last time, it actually gave me the same track like 4 times over, which was surprisingly frustrating. But yeah, as you can see, it just gives you random tracks, but there's no point really. You might as well just stick to the most downloaded because the most downloaded means they're at least the most interesting tracks. But yeah, that's all there. There's also the Mod Explorer, which is a really weird system where if you take your Vita with you and check in at different locations around the globe, you'll earn more parts for the track editor. And you can give stuff via near, and there's leaderboards for the creation stuff as well, and time trial as well, obviously. There's the race station, but I'll just quickly go over the token shop. So when you go to the token shop, you use tokens that you get in the career mode in order to get specific items. Like, for example, I just got the short bus, which... Don't call me an SJW, but that really sounds like a rag on disabled people. Jesus. Alright, never mind, we'll move on. So, I did not mean to do that. You have to control some of these menus via touchscreen and some of these menus via buttons. Like, I can't press up and down to go on this little circle here. I have to use the touchscreen, which is really frustrating, actually. Unfortunately, there's no online multiplayer, which is a real shame, because I feel like that would work really well in a game like this. Modnation Races had online multiplayer as well. I'm kind of surprised. But yeah, you can do ad hoc race, and you've got quick race, time trial, and continue career. No battle mode, which I feel like would have worked pretty well if they'd just, balanced the game a little better around it. But anyway, this is what the tours look like. Basically, they're a series of 5 races in a row, and you need to get a specific amount of tour points. So it's a lot like the Mario Kart Grand Prix, where you get a certain amount of points depending on your position. Once you've done that, you can move on to the next tour. And to get to the final tour, you need to fill in all of these, which is a little bit of a weird system, but whatever. We won't pay too much attention to that. So in every tour race, you have objectives like get 15,000 spin points, take down 3 opponents, and finish the race, obviously. And you unlock these items for fulfilling those specific goals. And there's also 5 tokens lying on every course. We will play one of these races, and then I'll go and play some of the more classic, not the classic tracks, custom tracks. Because custom tracks are entirely more interesting than the Grand Prix tracks. The career tracks, whatever the bloody hell they want to call them. These loading times are going to be a kick in the teeth. A real kick in the teeth. Alright. So here we go. So this is Modnation Races. The idea is that you are a kart racer, obviously. And you have to win the race, obviously, again. And you have multiple tools at your disposal to do this. The main object that you've got at your disposal is that thing on the right there, which is the boost meter. What the boost meter does is when you drift, sideswipe, attack, or just generally, like, when you do tricks in the air like that, you get your boost meter filled up. If you press square, your boost meter will be drained, but you'll gain a speed boost. Obviously, right? But you can also use the circle button to turn it into a shield. And what the shield does is it protects you from other attacks, because the weapons in this game are rather unfair if you don't have a shield. Because as you can see there, I just hit 2 people at once and I just got hit myself. The game does warn you if an incoming attack is about to break your shit, but, you know, if you don't have your boost meter at like half full, you aren't going to be able to do shit with that. Ow. I'm a bit of an idiot. You do also have collectible weapons, because of course you do. It's a kart racing game, what more do you expect? But they actually do things a little bit differently in this one. If you ever played Diddy Kong Racing, this game actually reminds me of that a lot. And speaking of that, it would have been really nice if they had gone with the idea of, like, letting you, like, swap vehicles on particular tracks, you know? Actually having, like, a boner plane, but not the biggest deal in the world. But nevertheless. But yeah, every time you pick up a weapon, it'll be a level 1 weapon, and then every other pickup on the track for you, the other players don't get the same benefit. But every time you pick up something on the a weapon on the track, all the other pickups will change to be that pickup as well. So you can easily pick up another pickup of that color and get a more leveled up version of that weapon. And the level 3 weapons can be ridiculous. The level 3 ice weapon, for example, turns you into a freaking snow boulder that can run over basically anybody. It's kind of great. Ow. Generally, you'd expect to be boosting and using, like, your drift and stuff all the time, right? But unfortunately, that's not really a thing in this game, because the AI is actually incredibly rubber-banded. If you get too far ahead, they will zoom behind you with not a care in the goddamn world, I tell ya. They will just completely freaking disappear, right? Well, not disappear, they'll just appear right behind you and you won't even notice. Even if you're constantly just boosting and boosting and boosting, you'll just get caught up to immediately. It's really annoying because you can't do, like, top tier play, more or less, because they will catch up with you, and you make one mistake or get hit by one weapon and you will come 7th. Because that's just how these sorts of games work. Let's go into Quick Race and actually check out some of these custom tracks. I downloaded a fair few. I haven't played all of them, but a lot of them are actually really impressive. We'll start with Waluigi Pinball. And actually, I'll go change my cart and I'll play as the real General Lee, and who's appropriate to be in the General Lee? We'll make it Deadpool. You'd probably laugh. So yeah, you can't do, like, top tier play, because if you do, you'll just get the shit kicked out of you by the AI who suddenly have developed a massive amount of boost reserves. And considering that you're very likely to get hit by the you're also considerably more likely to get hit by weapons when you're out in first, so holding on to boost to use as a shield is a really, really good idea, let me tell you that much. God, the amount of times I should have used a shield instead of just boosting all the time. So we're going to go on to the custom tracks now. The custom tracks are interesting. They tend to be worse on the frame rate in general, because you might have noticed that the game's frame rate isn't particularly fantastic. I'm not entirely sure what dictates a stable frame rate in this game or not, because some tracks that feel like they should be totally fine have massive frame rate drops. Some tracks that are just unbelievable on the detail just are fine with the frame rate. It can go up and down at pretty much any time. It's a little bit frustrating, honestly. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the deal is. So yeah, if you haven't... Ow! So yeah, if you haven't played this game before, it is basically... not this game, this track, but this is basically a remake from Waluigi Pinball on the Mario Kart DS iteration, which is actually my favorite Mario Kart, funnily enough. Mario Kart 7 sucks, Mario Kart 8 isn't that much better, but at least the anti-gravity makes things a bit interesting. But yeah, the amount of creativity people can get up to with this track editor is actually pretty great. Like, they're using bloody cans of something as a substitute for the pinballs, which is pretty neat. Let's do a bit of spin, get a bit of boost going, and try and make my way around this tight-ass corner. As you can see, despite the fact that I'm basically driving perfectly, they're just massively catching up with me, and this does happen a lot. You don't earn enough points just purely by drifting to keep a boost going forever, so there might be a reason for that, but... Ow! But yeah. Yeah, the amount of creativity you could have going for you in this sort of game is actually pretty neat. Just the customization of everything is really nice. I guess what I'm disappointed by is the lack of online multiplayer, purely because of the idea of, it's just... I'd love a sort of mode where I could just go online and play, like, the top 100 downloaded tracks with a bunch of people. That'd be a really good mode to have, you know? There is some problems with the custom tracks, though, especially ones you download from the PS3 side of things. Mainly because of some of the track designs are just... They tend to act up in the weirdest of ways. Like, yeah, as you can see there, I'm not entirely sure how I didn't have enough speed to make that jump, but apparently I didn't, so I got to fall off the edge. That's a weird thing. Oh, God. Well, that sucked for me. The driving itself feels fine. I mean, there's nothing too amazing about it. I am sucking right now, but considering that the game's got a relatively low frame rate just by default means that it's a bit stiff, I think is the word I'm looking for, because it's surprisingly difficult to stay away from the walls sometimes when the frame rate drops down completely, and it's not that bad, not really. I mean, it's a minor nitpick in all things when you consider everything, but it's still not terrible, not by any means. Honestly, I haven't even bothered to listen to, like, the music or the sound effects or anything. They're just there. There's one track that I played that, had a lot of problems with the design, and that was, it was one of the beach ones that I downloaded. Or watercourse ones, or whatever the bloody hell you want to call it. Because, there's, like, 3 or 4 points on that track where you seem determined to fall off unless you get the track absolutely right, and that tends to happen a bit. Also, that's gonna be the most hilarious example of pop-in that I've seen in a while. It just literally, like, floats in as you get too close. It's kind of neat. Oh, not again. Apparently I still got the spin points for that though. Eat my bolt. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun game. It's just... Well, you saw how much of the tour I had completed, and that was in about an hour? Like, an hour's worth of racing got me through almost 2 of the 6 tours. Which is a... Wow, I made it right through that. 2 of the 6 tours, which... Oh. How... Ow. Boost, boost, boost. I'm not letting you win, you son of a bitch. Considering that there's only like 5 tours and I got through 2 of them in less than an hour, there really isn't that much single player content. And once you've gotten through that, since there's no online multiplayer, the only thing that you can really do is just download and play custom tracks. That's if you don't have a creative mind. It's a little bit disappointing, honestly. There are a lot of tracks, don't get me wrong, if you go online. I mean, the base game only includes 20, so it's like... I don't know... what should I pick? I'll pick City of Wonder, why not? It just really is disappointing, like... You could have easily extended the game's single-player potential by having, like, a... procedurally generated tour that downloads like random high-rated tracks off the internet and is like, do this track, but get a few thousand drift points and a few thousand side swipes, and just things like that, you know? Have the track designers designate little goals for you to do, and then just have them pulled down and have other people play them as they do, and then, you know, rate the track. That would have been a great way to extend the game's longevity a bit and have some custom parts hidden behind it. That's a pretty cool looking Ferris wheel, even though it's a bit minimalistic. Ow, that was me. Ran up the arse of some guy and then he ran me straight into a wall, because that's what I deserve. You die now. So do you. But for some reason he wouldn't get out of my bloody way. Modnation Races is fun. Don't get me wrong, like, I'm having a good time with it. Despite the rubber banding AI, the lack of single player content, and the fact that some of the tracks can be a little bit strange. Damn, I pressed the shield button for just too short amount of time. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun time, and some of these courses can be legitimately really fun to race on. I'll have to play the Empire Strikes Back track next, because that course reminds me a lot of the old, Donkey Kong tracks from Mario Kart, while being the Star Wars track, which is actually kind of neat. Cheeky bastard with his shield and... Screw you. Ow. I was about to say, I'm Deadpool, so for a minute I thought I was flipping the guys off. That would be quite silly, but no, I wasn't. I really do like Modnation Races, don't get me wrong. It's a fun game when you take out of account the game's technical performance issues, the relative lack of single-player content if you aren't a creative mind, and just the general rubber bandedness of the AI, but I mean, this probably would have been the best game to recommend when the Vita originally came out, because I have played Asphalt Injection. I do plan on doing a video of that because I do own a copy of that game, and I mean I own a copy of it physically. I'm not kidding, but it's a perfectly fine kart racer. It's just that with Wipeout 2048 beating it out in just in general in being a racer, and then Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed, which despite lacking the sort of user-created track stuff of the of Modnation Races, it still manages to be a more fun kart racer due to the transforming thing and the gimmicks happening on every track. That was a hell of a lot of fun to play with, the whole transforming thing, because all the different modes of driving felt different, and Modnation Race's single kart stuff, that was a stupid thing for me to do, but that means I get to do this. It's kind of neat. It reminds me of Split Second with how shit would explode around you. But, oh, that was a bit stupid too, and I really should have let that out when I was closer to him, but screw him. But yeah, when you've got Sonic and Sega, All-Stars Racing, Wipeout 2048, and even Need for Speed if you want something like open world instead of like just general closed tracks like this. Oh shit. Better shield up for this. Oh well, I still flew over the finish line anyway, but if you were looking for something... If you were looking for a better kart racer, you've already got one. I mean, if you wanted to drop like 20 bucks or like even 10 bucks on something like this, that'd be a fine price for it. If you just want something you could pick up off to the side every now and again. I think they've made the online pass free. I'll play one more race. And I'll swap my characters again. My kart, this time, I think I'll make it the Tron kart, and we'll pick... who do we have? Go the Stormtrooper, because we're about to do the Empire Strikes Back track. So if it's cheap, it's probably worth your time. Hopefully they don't take the servers down anytime soon. That would be quite embarrassing. Because once they take the servers down, there's basically nothing here. I mean, sure, if you can get the tracks before they're gone, you can hold on to them for at least a while, but... Yeah, once the servers go down for Modnation Races, it's pretty much over for this game, because there's literally nothing else to it. Sure, you can try remaking all the tracks yourself again, but that's not going to work very well, is it? Loading times! This is probably my favorite custom track that I've downloaded just because it's so unbelievably creative. Just drifting in between the AT-AT's legs, just boosting into Echo Base. Shame you couldn't get like a little Darth Vader figurine standing around somewhere. Millennium Falcon over there. I think that was meant to be a Pro Droid. I keep forgetting that that's not where the turn is. But yeah, Millennium Falcon, you go up through it. And this and yeah, you can even see the two little guys over there piloting the AT-AT. Whoever made this course was extremely clever. Oh, that's not gonna end well, is it? Wow. See, the AI just fell off the course there because of course it did. Yeah, this is one of the best examples of what people in Modnation Races can do, but again, it's just... Unless you're actively going just to piss around on tracks for fun, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, entirely reasonable thing to do. Unless you're going to go and do that, then there's not really that much else here for you to do. There's not much in the way of structure. Unless you want to take the game around the world and say, hey, I got all the freaking parts, you can do that, but... Still, overall... The amount of content the game has is basically what makes it a budget title, more or less. You know, the rubber banding and just the general, like, Grand Prix stuff, that's... Every kart racer has that, so it's hard to criticize it on those faults. Whoops. Whoop. Oh, apparently you can do that. And here comes the other guy right behind me. So yeah, worth 10 bucks, maybe, while the servers are still up. Fun enough as it is, but there's too many problems. Would have been nice if they actually got a really good port of this going, because imagine if they had like online multiplayer, a stable frame rate, and more stuff to do outside just the general single tour. That'd be great. Imagine if you could compose your own music and they just had like the battle music from the Battle of Hoth just blaring through this entire track. That would be amazing. It's funny watching a Stormtrooper do this. Like, man, a huge, like, multimedia crossover in the style of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed, but with, like, movie licenses and stuff would be amazing. I'm surprised no one's tried to get that done yet. But yeah, that was a look at Modnation Race's Road Trip. While it's an alright racing game in and of itself, there are better things to get, and considering that the game has a notable lack of single-player content, it's probably only worth getting if you can pick it up for like 15 bucks, and even then, only if the servers are still up. If the servers go down, this game isn't worth jack, in my honest opinion, but oh well, that's just a thing. So, this has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.